Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this presentation. My name is Peter Traynor. I'm the Managing Director of Railbookers, and I'm joined here this evening by my colleague Sarah, who shortly will be going through our most popular rail holidays. And of course, we have our special guest star, Mark Smith, the man in seat 61. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening.
And you can see him there in that photograph in seat 61. Any idea how many times you've sat in that seat, Mark?
I have lost count. Many, many times.
I'm sure. I've lost count of how many times I've been on Eurostar this year alone. Well, everybody, before we get started, just like to remind you the advantages of travelling with Railbookers. We are rail experts. We have a call centre full of decades of experience of rail experts with extensive knowledge of the rail systems and routes around Europe to make sure to ease you through that complexity. And also we offer insider access. We work directly with all the main railway companies in Europe, which allows us to be able to offer you for sale the holidays before they're available to the public on routes that before anyone can book directly with the companies. You can book with us up to 18 months in advance. It's a hassle-free booking process. We speak to every single customer, and we like to do that because we want to make sure we can match exactly what you want from your holiday with the holiday that we offer. So we find you can't do that on the internet. It's much better to speak to you and find exactly what you're looking for. We are also an award-winning company, and we're proud of that for our customer service and flexibility. Going back to the hassle-free process, we can top and tail and customize any itinerary we go through today or on our website or in our brochure, and Sarah will go into that in more detail as we go through the individual itineraries. That's just a selection of the companies we have direct relationships with. And the different types of holidays we offer, tailor-made holidays, as I said, you can top and tail and customize exactly as you like. And we have the most famous scenic rail journeys, which we'll go through in more detail shortly. Obviously, we have the luxury and private train journeys, like the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. Whether you want just a simple city break. I went to Avignon recently just for the weekend. You can get there in 5 or 6 hours now from London, and Mark just went to Bordeaux for the day, if that takes your fancy. Also, we have increasing demand for people joining or leaving either Mediterranean cruises or river cruises in Europe, and our rail and sail program helps you top and tail those and finishing off those holidays perfectly. And lakes and mountains, the scenery is what makes rail travel part of the experience and part of the holiday. So we can offer all these different types of holidays for you. So I'll pass over to Sarah now, who'll go through in more detail our most popular journeys. But as I said, all of these can be tailored to your exact requirements.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter. And guys, what an absolute pleasure to be able to have the opportunity this evening with Mark Smith here to talk to you about some of Railbookers' top destinations and our most popular rail holidays for 2018. You can see on your screen there just a very small selection of kind of the top destinations that we offer, and some of these we're going to be looking at in more detail as we go through the presentation with Mark. Italy, of course, is always one of our top sellers in popularity here at Railbookers, whether that's using the incredibly fast, modern and comfortable trains to get around Italy, or taking one of the myriad scenic routes through the Swiss Alps or through the Alps down to Italy itself and then exploring from there. Switzerland plays host obviously not just to some of the most scenic train journeys in Europe, but the most scenic train journeys in the world. And we're really excited to be able to bring you the best of them here at Railbookers and to kind of be able to combine some of these fantastic journeys. And Mark's going to share his anecdotes from a couple of those today. Spain and Portugal, a nice alternative to kind of the beach holiday. No need to fly. You can take the train, explore the amazing cities maybe down in Andalusia, Seville, Granada, Cordoba, and Portugal is growing in popularity as well. You can get all the way down to Lisbon by train, maybe use one of the continent sleeper trains to do that. The USA and Canada, across the pond, the rail journeys are fantastic, so much scenery, and I always think, I did a big holiday by Amtrak this year, and I always think, once you've flown all the way there, you don't want to be flying internally, and I certainly don't want to be driving on the other side of the road, so perfect for that. And Scandinavia is really popular at the moment, whether it's trips through the Norwegian fjords maybe, or kind of, you know, just linking the capital cities up with some very sleek Scandinavian train journeys. And guys, this is very, very exciting. So we're really excited. Today, the 1st of November, is the first day of the Eurostar flash sale with Railbookers, exclusive to Railbookers. We are offering our customers £19 per person upgrade to standard Premier on the Eurostar for your 2018 holidays. And this is valid on any of the holidays that you'll see today in our presentation, and any holiday at all with more than 2 destinations in it departing next year. So definitely give us a call and tell us what you're thinking for your holiday next year. You'll get dedicated coaches, those spacious seats and power sockets, and seat 61 itself is a standard Premier seat. So, you know, endorsed by the best, by Mark Smith himself. Obviously, you'll get that incredibly generous luggage allowance, a real breath of fresh air if you're used to flying, and a complimentary meal and a drink as well served at your seat. So from today to the 10th of November, that's valid. Do give us a call about that. And the good news keeps on coming. We've got a special offer on holidays on the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express as well, valid for bookings made before the end of this month. So if you have maybe next year a special occasion, you've got, you know, a big birthday or an anniversary, there is no better way to celebrate in style than on board the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. We'll give you £200 per couple onboard credits, which will get you a very nice amount of very nice wine or multiple other things on the train itself. Guys, don't forget to download the handouts for tonight's webinar. There's a little diagram there that will show you how to do that. It's very, very simple. And if you have any questions for me or for Peter, or most likely for Mark, the man in seat 61, do ask us and we will get around to a fantastic Q&A session at the end of the webinar. We had some really, really great questions on this morning's webinar. So, you know, do your best to try them out and we'll get around to those at the end. But before that, we're going to have a chat with you guys about some of our most popular rail holidays. And this is always a fantastic one to start on. Venice by the Alps. If Railbookers had a signature holiday, this would probably be it. It is a wonderful, wonderful trip. You go from London down to Paris, then through to Geneva, and through the Swiss Alps to Venice. And this is a route that you recommend yourself, isn't it, Mark, for travel down to Italy?
It is. Well, Italy's the top destination from the UK on C61 too, just like Railbookers. And you can't be kicking off with the Paris-Geneva route. I think that's probably the nicest of the Paris-Switzerland routes. It's only 3 hours 9 minutes from central Paris to central Geneva. First 2 are at high speed, 186 miles an hour. It's not too fast to see the scenery, but after the first couple of hours, you slow right down and snake through the Jura Mountains over a rail line called the Haute line. It takes in not only mountain scenery, you cross the Ain Gorge over a quite spectacular viaduct, the Volontaire Viaduct. Part of the line is single track. You snake along the Lake Mantua into Geneva. That's a whole hour of fascinating scenery, and that's just the first leg from Paris to Geneva.
Absolutely, it is a fantastic journey. I did it myself about 2 weeks ago now, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And you do end up in Geneva, which is a great city, perfect overnight stop. The train station actually only about 10 minutes walk from the lakefront itself, and we can certainly organise a hotel for you that's near the station, so the next day all you've got to do is pop back You can go down to the lake and maybe take a boat to the old town for dinner. But the next day, I mean, that's where this holiday really comes into its own. You thought Paris to Geneva was great, which it is. Geneva through to Venice. Mark, tell us a little bit about this incredible route.
Well, this is the famous Simplon route, once used by the Simplon-Orient-Express. It takes you right around Lake Geneva, through Milan and Montreux. It'll take you past castles, it'll take you past vineyards. A lot of people are surprised you don't think of vineyards when you think of Switzerland. They don't export a lot of their wine, they keep it to themselves. And having tasted it, I can understand why. Loads of vineyards, and then the mountains start, and you snake through those lovely Alpine mountains, often snow-capped, even at warmer times of the year, all the way into Milan.
Absolutely, it is a gorgeous route.
It is. I mean, the picture here is Lake Maggiore, I think, isn't it, Sarah?
It is. It's one of my pictures, everybody. I'm very proud of it. I took it from the window of the moving train, which kind of shows you just how scenic this route is. And it wasn't a glimpse, guys. You go right along the banks of Lake Maggiore and Lake Geneva at the beginning of the trip. It is wonderfully scenic. And of course, when you end the journey, that's when you get to Venice, and obviously one of the world's most beautiful cities, really needs no introduction. But Mark, tell us a little bit about what it's like to arrive into Venice by train.
Well, Santa Lucia station in Venice is actually in Venice. It's not like the airport miles outside on the mainland. So the train calls at Mestre initially on the mainland, and then it rumbles right across the famous causeway over the lagoon with your anticipation building until it arrives at Santa Lucia station. And you literally walk out of the station, and there it is, the Grand Canal with vaporettos going up and down and the occasional gondola. The absolute stereotypical Venice view is right there outside the station.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right in the heart of the action, and we work with a whole huge range of hotels in Venice, so whatever it is that you're looking for, we've got some great kind of hidden gems and top tips that our staff have all visited as well, so they'll definitely be able to talk you through the options. And did you know, guys, that you can literally tailor-make any of the Railbookers holidays to your exact requirements? So if you wanted to add a night in Geneva to have a full day to explore, you wanted to stop off somewhere en route, or you wanted to fly home instead of take the train back home, that is no problem. Just let us know exactly what you want to do, and we'll be very, very happy to make the arrangements for you. And we're sticking with the Venetian theme, but having a look now at one of the world's greatest trains, absolutely, and very hot at the moment, what with the release of the Agatha Christie film this week as well. The Venice Simplon-Orient-Express is, one of the most famous trains in the world, and for good reason. You can see from the inclusions there what a trip on this luxury train entails. I am very, very lucky and also very, very braggy that I went on this train myself 2 weeks ago now, and it was the experience of a lifetime. You get to spend a night aboard in a very luxurious cabin. You've got your dedicated steward service, and of course you get, 3-course lunch, a 4-course dinner, afternoon tea on both days, breakfast and brunch. It is absolutely wonderful, and the stay in Venice really just crowns it off nicely. And Mark, this is a special train for you as well, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about your memories and why you love the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express so much.
Oh, this is indeed a very special train to me. I'll be brutally honest, Sarah. Way back in 2003, I doubted that any 24-hour train journey could possibly be worth £2,000. I really did. But my girlfriend and I had only been going out for 6 months. She hadn't been to Italy before, which horrified me, so we needed to get there somehow. I needed to research this train for C61, and they had a discount or something at the end of that season. So for that most romantic of reasons, we booked the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express from London to Verona. And it it absolutely lives up to its reputation. The carriages are fantastic, the staff are fantastic, the food is out of this world. That train worked its very special magic. The name of our firstborn son, Nathaniel, was decided in that sleeper late at night. And the following day, somewhere in the Brenner Pass, we still argue about who said what to whom. I just remember it was in the corridor of S-Class sleeping car number 3125, because I remember the important things, obviously. We ended up engaged in the middle of a snowstorm. I didn't even know at the time whether we were in Germany or in Austria or Italy, but we ended up at Verona engaged. So treat that train with care. It's powerful magic.
Absolutely, yeah. You might end up getting more than you bargained for with a holiday on the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. But you know, it is absolutely. It just really harks back to kind of the golden age of rail travel. Absolutely does. And there's us. There's our little team about to board the Orient Express. None of us got engaged, but we did all have an absolutely fantastic time. That's us at Venice Santa Lucia, waiting to board. And there's you, Mark, you and Mrs. Seat 61. Is that just after your surprise engagement?
Do we look shell-shocked? Yeah, that's on the platform of Verona. Freshly engaged. I think we got engaged about an hour before that photograph was taken.
You look very, very happy. And here's the two of you again. How many years later was this?
Oh, that was only a couple of years ago. We took the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express from London to Paris. You don't have to take it all the way to Venice. If you've only spare a day, well, you experience both the British Pullman train and the Continental Wagon-Lit train, and you even get a sleeper, although you don't sleep in it. And of course you have your dinner in the restaurant car and stuff, just in a day going from London to Paris.
Absolutely, and you can see from their glamorous attire there that you really can never be overdressed on the Orient Express, both looking lovely there. And these are the pictures that I took of my cabin when I was on the Orient Express. So you can see it by day on the left-hand side there. You can see my glass of welcome Prosecco before I quashed the lot of it and then had another. And on the right-hand side there is what the cabin looks like when it's made up for the evening. So that cabin was just, for me, if there was a bunk bed, it would obviously fold down from the top. But it's very, very comfortable. It's not like really any sleeper train that I'd ever been on before. It is, you know, kind of the height of luxury. And here is one of the restaurant cars. So obviously the cabins are fantastic, but really the food was my highlight. Maybe, I mean, the food is kind of always my highlight of any trip. But you know, it's fantastic. And here is your favourite restaurant car, I think, Mark. And actually, I requested this one on Mark's advice, and it was absolutely brilliant. Can you tell us a little bit about them, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. There are 3 restaurant cars on the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. They're all different, all unique. This is the Côte d'Azur restaurant car with the Lalique glass panels, and that, as you say, is my favourite. But there's also the Oriental with its Chinese theme, and the third one, I've forgotten the third one at the moment, but you basically, the trick is to request different sittings in different meals in different restaurant cars and then experience them all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly what we did, and everybody is kind of very, very welcome to do that. And you can certainly have a potter up and down the train as well, so you'll definitely be able to see all of the different ones, and kind of, I tell them apart by the seat colour, but they are very, very different, and each, you know, maybe equally wonderful. And there are the food pictures. There are just a couple that I took. I took a picture of pretty much every course of every meal, but you can see from the picture, you know, there's amazing fish courses. There's lobster, there was foie gras. That bottom picture is a fig tiramisu that brought a tear to my eye. It was so delicious. And it's fantastic that you can kind of see them loading the train with the kind of fresh produce when you stop. They really do. So they bring, you know, lobsters, and those are completely fresh. They bring vegetables from, you know, the stops in Italy and things like that. Did you notice that, Mark, or were you too busy getting engaged?
I was too busy taking photographs at the time, I think. But the food tastes even better than it looks. And of course, it's all included in the price. The only thing you need to pay for is a bottle of wine.
Absolutely, and you know, that fantastic Railbookers offer, that would be a very nice way to spend that. I mean, you could get some very, very nice wine indeed for the £200 per couple that we are offering at the moment. And you can see here some pictures. This is the evenings on board the train, and it really is when kind of the train comes to life and that golden age of rail travel. You know, you can really, really feel it. You can see there me and my party frock, but it is, you know, impossible to be overdressed. It's floor-length gowns for the women and tuxedos for the men. Really adds a fantastic sense of occasion, and you can see the nice barman there pouring a glass of champagne, but they've got kind of specialty cocktails and, you know, all kind of premium spirits and things. It really is. I mean, it's the social hub of the train, really, the bar car, isn't it, Mark?
It is. They've got a full-scale piano there as well, with a pianist tinkling away. So it's where everyone goes to talk to everyone else.
Exactly, yeah, it really, really is. And everybody's in, obviously, very, very high spirits and wants to chat and have a fantastic time. And obviously, at the end, you get, as Mark described, on the previous holiday, you get that amazing entrance into Venice. When you roll across the causeway, you can see the laguna, both sides of the train. Looks like it's going on forever. It is absolutely wonderful. And when you're in Venice, guys, if it's a really luxurious holiday and a special occasion and you want one of the amazing 5-stars in our hotel, we can do that. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you know, romantic gondola ride or entrance ticket, so that you know that your museum that you want to see hasn't sold out. We can do absolutely all of that. We are so invested in you guys having the perfect holiday, so just let us know what you want and we'll do our best. And we're moving on, only temporarily, don't worry, from Venice to Switzerland now. So it's two of Switzerland's, you know, the world's most scenic trains, the classic Glacier and Verona Express holiday. And when you do a holiday like this, it's actually possible to see both of these trips in just one holiday. And these are two of your recommendations, aren't they, Mark?
Well, they are. They are arguably Switzerland's two top scenic train journeys, and I'm often asked which is the best, and blown if I can decide which one. So you'll have to do both. I think the Bernina probably just fits at the Glacier Express at the post, but they are both fabulous, and they're both quite different actually as well. But they both use fantastic panoramic coaches and give you absolutely superb up-close and personal views of the Alps.
Absolutely. I mean, you say Verona, Mark, but a lot of our teams say Glacier. So Mark is right. You will have to do both, and it's very easy to do that on this holiday. But you can travel in from to Switzerland, from the UK, from wherever your home station is, down to London to catch the Eurostar. And of course, use our fantastic offer that's live with our flash sale right now. You'll spend your first couple of nights in Interlaken, which translates as between two lakes. A very, very nice kind of alpine wonderland, Interlaken. And did you know that you can add on a trip to your Railbookers holiday to the top of Europe, which is the Jungfrau yacht? This is something that you recommend, isn't it, Mark?
It is. The view from the top of the Jungfrau is absolutely spectacular. That you can see a 360-degree view of the Alps. It's about 13,000 feet, so you can feel the air being very thin at that height. In fact, if you look at 661, you'll see several pages use the view from the top of the Jungfrau as the page background.
Absolutely, yeah, that is how fantastic it is. You can see all the way out to France and to Germany, so an absolutely wonderful, wonderful trip to take. But so the next holiday that you'll do will be the Glacier Express, the first train, and you can see from the picture there, as Mark said, those amazing kind of panoramic windows. That means that you can see all of the scenery. And can you tell us a little bit about your highlights of this journey, Mark?
Well, this is billed as the world's slowest express, because it's an express in name, but it takes about 7.5 hours. But the 7 hours you'll spend are absolutely spectacular. It takes you right across Switzerland on a meter gauge, narrow gauge railway that crosses the Oberalp Pass. And you actually need to do it twice, I think, because the experience of these scenic trains is completely different in summer than it is in winter. In summer, you've got all the alpine meadows that in Switzerland look as if they were freshly mowed yesterday, very manicured, sort of Sound of Music. And then in winter, it can be an absolute lunar landscape, just a complete whiteout. I've done the Glacier Express in a complete whiteout, and it was actually quite surreal. There were times when the train seemed to be floating in a sea of white. But the service on board is good too. You can choose to have a meal served at your seat on the Glacier Express, and it's really good food. And they also serve some really good wines. In fact, I don't know whether they still do it, but I had a bottle of white called the Johannesburg that was absolutely spectacular. Never seen it outside of Switzerland. It's obviously so good, the Swiss do keep that wine to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a very civilized and lovely way to travel, and you know, you get kind of the nice experience of having a meal on board, and Railbookers can book that for you in advance. If you just ask us, we'll certainly do that. Got that did you know there, but yes, you did know, because Mark's just told you that the Glacier Express takes 7.5 hours to cover. It's 180 miles. A very fond nickname, Europe's slowest express. And there's our lovely bunch on the Glacier Express, having a nice glass of wine, not the white that you recommend, Mark, but there Mark is with the famed bottle of white there, and I think that's your little one with you, isn't it, Mark?
Oh, that's a very young Nathaniel.
Yeah, that's a nice family picture, nice family train travel there. But when you get off the Glacier Express, then you'll arrive into Chur, and you know it's a really, really nice kind of typically Swiss, very, very quaint town. Switzerland's oldest town, actually, Chur, and got a nice car-free old town, so feels miles away from the kind of hustle and bustle of some of the big cities that you might be used to visiting on holiday. It's also a great place to visit because it is the terminus station for the Verona Express. Can you tell us a bit about your highlights on this route then, Mark?
Well, this is the highest crossing of the Alps there is. At its height, it reaches over 7,000 feet. And to put that into perspective, if you were at the summit of the highest mountain in Great Britain, Ben Nevis up in Scotland, you'd only be at 4,400 feet. So this really is probably the most spectacular Swiss alpine journey of them all. You climb and climb and climb and go alongside a glacier. You go right over Alp Grum. There are spirals, the Brusio spiral, where the train literally does a loop-the-loop to gain height or lose height in the southbound direction. And sometimes you are clinging to a mountainside looking at a valley thousands of feet below, and sometimes you're gazing up at mountaintops thousands of feet above. The scenery really doesn't stop coming on this one.
No, absolutely. It is a wonderful, wonderful trip to do. And as you said, Mark, you know, people are always asking, which is the most scenic, which is your favourite? Do them both. And as Mark said, do them both twice. Railbookers will happily arrange 2 different trips, one in the summer and one in the winter, and then you'll get to see both journeys in all their glory. And we're going back to Italy now, as I did promise, Rome via the Alps. So this follows much of the same route that Mark spoke to us about before. So that lovely trip on the Eurostar from London to Paris, Paris down to Geneva along the line that Mark told us about, and then Geneva through the Alps, down to Milan, and then down to Rome. And actually, you know, from Milan, you can pretty much get anywhere in Italy, can't you, Mark?
Well, they say all roads lead to Rome. I think in railway terms, all railroads lead to Milan. And changing trains there is actually a treat, because Milan Centrale Station is one of the most spectacular in Europe. The sheer scale of Mussolini's architecture is quite incredible. Both the train shed and, oh, the picture's just come up, both the train shed, which rivals St Pancras, I think it's even bigger than St Pancras, and the station building at the front, which is it's just absolutely vast, magnificent.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolutely beautiful station, everybody, and it's a nice, if you wanted to add a night there, or even, add an afternoon and, be on a later train to wherever you're going to Rome or to Naples or to the Cinque Terre, the Amalfi Coast, wherever it was, we can add an afternoon, leave your bags and less luggage and have a wander around Milan, because the station really is right in the middle of the city. And you can see another one of my fantastic pictures of the route from Geneva down to Milan there. That's actually going along Lake Geneva. So the route is so fantastically scenic. And as Mark says, once you're in Milan, the whole of Italy is your oyster. We're kind of focusing on Rome here because it is, a fantastic city, obviously. The capital city, so much to see and do. So, certainly one that I can very highly recommend. If just to have a gelato in front of the Trevi Fountain late at night. But anywhere that you'd like to go in Italy, just let us know. And the train system is so fantastic, and we'll certainly have a look at getting you there. So now we're going to look at a couple of Europe's most scenic passes. So we're starting with this one, as I think that this is one of the Man and C61's favourites. It's the Arlberg Pass that goes through Switzerland into Austria. And we've got flights in and out of this holiday, and certainly if you are a bit short on time or you'd like to do flights and the train, then we can do that. But it'd be very easy to get in and out of Zurich and Vienna by rail instead if you wanted to, wouldn't it, Mark?
Oh, absolutely, I'd recommend it.
Yes, absolutely. And so you'll start kind of the journey in Zurich if you wanted to do that by train. It's just a quick change in Paris, London to Paris on Eurostar, and then Paris through to Zurich. Very, very easy. And Zurich is a lovely city. It's known kind of as being the financial capital of Switzerland, but it's, it's so much more than that. It's got this amazing kind of quaint old town, some of the most wonderful riverside walks I've ever done. Really, really, high-class Swiss food. So definitely a nice place to spend a couple of nights before the absolute wonders that are the Arlberg Pass. Can you tell us a bit about this pass, Mark?
Well, yes, when the train leaves Zurich, you want to grab a seat on the left-hand side, because initially that will be on the side where you pass the lakes, the Zürichsee and a couple of other lakes. Absolutely beautiful part of Switzerland. The train cuts across a corner of Liechtenstein, so you're actually going 3 countries on this train journey, not 2. And then the line starts climbing up into the Austrian Tyrol. It changes direction at Buchs, I should say. So you'll end up on the right-hand side, which is the best side for seeing the scenery beyond Buchs as well. It climbs up. Sometimes again you're on the side of the valley, side of the mountain, looking down on the valley. You've got mountain tops above you, snow-capped scenery. It's another of the spectacular passes. It's the second highest piece of railway, I think, in Austria. So you summit at about 4,000 feet, which isn't quite as high as the Bernina, of course. But if we go back to that Ben Nevis, you're about the same height as that Scottish mountain, the tallest mountain in Britain.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. You do feel very high up as well as you go through the mountains. It's absolutely wonderful. And there's your lunch on the Arlberg Pass, Mark. It's nice to have a kind of a lunch served at your seat. So this is something that you can do on that train, isn't it?
Well, yes, the trains on this route are Austria's premier trains, the Railjet. Air-conditioned, Wi-Fi, power sockets at all seats, and in first and business class, you're served food at your seat. You don't need to go to the dining car, they'll bring it to you. And it's none of this airline plastic cutlery business. It's served on proper china with proper metal cutlery.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Mark treat himself to a beer there, and it's a very, very nice thing to do. You can have it in the dining car in any class at all, but if you do want to upgrade to first class, then just let us know. Whatever class, we can book all types of class on all of the services that we offer. So if you do want an upgrade on some or all of your journeys, then please do just let us know. And another did you know there that the train travels not just through Switzerland and Austria, but also through Liechtenstein. And again, you do know because Mark's just told you, but it is fantastic if you are kind of you like to go to as many countries as possible like I do. You can give Liechtenstein a nice big tick. After that, you will end up in Innsbruck, which is very famous if you're interested in kind of winter sports. It's several times now hosted the Winter Olympics, and a wonderful old town with those fantastic colourful buildings, lots and lots to see and do, and lots of nice food to eat. You can see our lovely team there, Peter and our product manager, and some of our geeks there tucking into some schnitzel in Austria. After a stint in Innsbruck, as long as you like, you'll continue along the train to Vienna. And Vienna is personally one of my favourite cities that I've ever been to. I went in January this year, and it was very, very cold, but very magnificent. Anybody who's interested in kind of art, architecture, culture, music, Vienna has to be on your to-do list. The view there from St. Stephen's Cathedral was definitely a highlight for me, but it's just, it's got a wonderful kind of opera house, a great excuse to eat some Sacca torta at the original Cafe Sacca, and, some fantastic history dedicated to the Habsburgs and things like that. And there's our team again, looking like they're having a wonderful time when the rest of us were in the office, about to board the big bus, so the hop-on, hop-off bus tour in Vienna. And they really, really recommended this, and I've done some in other cities as well. And they're such a perfect way to see the city that you're in. You get that commentary, you get to go around from, one of the main sites to another, and we can organise these in almost all of the cities, the big cities that we work with. So that's something that appeals to you. Just let us know, and we'll be very, very happy to add it in for you. And you can see the Brenner Pass holiday here. So another one of Europe's magnificent scenic rail routes. Again, flights into Munich and home from Verona, but please don't feel like you can't take the train. We're Railbookers, you can always take the train. It'll be very easy to get to Munich, just a change in Paris or in Brussels, and then you get to go through the amazing scenery of the Brenner Pass. And what do you like about the Brenner Pass, Mark?
Well, I just can't get enough of mountains. I don't know what that says about me, but this is another of Europe's spectacular alpine crossings. It's actually a bit higher than the Arlberg. It's the highest section of line on the Austrian rail network and the highest section of line on the Italian Trenitalia network. And again, it'll take you clinging to valleys, clinging to mountainsides, with the mountaintops way above you and the valley way below you. You'll see castles, you'll see the little village of Jodok, where the train sort of does a hairpin bend and doubles back on itself. And then as you get further south into Italy, it's sort of, the mountains get further apart. You come onto the plain of North Italy and end up in Verona, which is one of Italy's nicest cities.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a wonderful, wonderful journey. Again, there's kind of a restaurant car on board where you can enjoy traditional kind of regional specialties as you make your way through scenery. That is a picture of the Brenner Pass there. You can see just how wonderful the kind of scenery is. You get that amazing stay in Innsbruck. We can extend that to be as long as you like. We get such fantastic feedback on Innsbruck as a city. I sadly haven't been myself, but obviously Mark has, and many of our staff have too. And you end up in Verona, and Verona I have been to, and I agree with Mark. It is, one of the nicest cities in Italy, certainly that I've ever been to. I didn't get engaged on the Orient Express to it, but it still holds a soft spot in my heart. If you're interested in kind of Shakespeare, then obviously you can go to Juliet's Balcony. If you're interested in music, there's that amazing Roman amphitheatre that dates back to, I think, about 2 AD or something like that, thousands of years old. If you're interested in wine, Northern Italy is a place that you might like to go to. So certainly, definitely a city that we can recommend. No better way to get there than through the amazing Brenner Pass, through Innsbruck, down from Munich. If you upgrade to first class as well, you can use some of the first class lounges. And, don't fly home from Verona. Take the train back through the Alps, like the couple of routes that we've had a look at today. Sticking to that theme, did you know that many of our customers will fly home from the last city on their itinerary, but you can always take the train. So there's many different scenic routes to get to Verona from the UK by rail. Obviously, we've looked at our favourites, but if there's a different one you'd like to try, just let us know. And that concludes is the portion of the evening where I wax lyrical about my favourite rail holidays. You know, Peter went through this with us earlier. Why book with Railbookers? We really are, you know, the rail experts. There's not many people that would pride themselves on being train geeks, but we really do. And we use that fantastic insider access, which means holidays like this and many others we can book long before the tickets are available for the public to book. Make it really, really flexible for you guys by being fully tailor-made, hassle-free. As Peter said, we love chatting to you guys about your rail holidays and making sure that everything runs smoothly for you. And that's why we're so proud of all the industry awards that we have won. Our holiday type sale, obviously we've looked at some scenic rail journeys today, certainly our bread and butter here at Railbookers, but luxury and private trains, not just the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, but you know, things all over the world. If it is just a city break, Peter's pictures of Avignon look absolutely wonderful. That might even have to be my next city break location. Rail and sail, if you did want to add on, you know, why fly to your cruise port when you could take the train and have a couple of nights somewhere on the route? Lakes and mountains holidays we've looked at today, and we really can tailor-make absolutely anything you like. Some of our top destinations, obviously, Italy and Switzerland. We hope we've given you a flavour of, you know, just the beginnings, just scratching the surface of the amazing train journeys that you can take to and from and within Italy and Switzerland. But Spain and Portugal, Scandinavia, staying in Europe, and across the pond, the US and Canada, some of the best train journeys in the world. Certainly some bucket list tips to be had there. And our staff are very, very au fait with all the journeys, so they'd love to talk to you about them if you are thinking of that. Flash sale, guys, every holiday you've seen on this webinar, you can use this flash sale towards. So if you book between the 1st of November and the 10th of November, so that's today, we're on day one, very, very excited, then at £19 per person, which is a real bargain to upgrade the Eurostar, you know, on your holiday. You get those dedicated coaches, the spacious seats, the power socket, an incredible luggage allowance, and you can bring wine. So if you do go to Verona, you can bring, or Paris, or anywhere, you can bring a bottle of wine back and give it to a family member or drink it yourself when you get back. You get that complimentary meal and a drink as well served at your seat. Mark said it's such a civilized and relaxing way to travel, kind of watching the scenery go by while somebody brings you a beer or a glass of wine, and you'll get that when you upgrade to standard Premier on the Eurostar. And the special offer on the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express as well. And I hope I did a good enough job of telling everybody just how wonderful it was. It was absolutely the experience of a lifetime. And, you know, as Mark said, very special to him as well. And we really hope that we can do everything we can to make it special to you guys. And £200 towards some nice wine and some treats for yourselves on board should go a long way. So ask us about that and book your holiday before the end of the month. Our brochures contain all these holidays that we've spoken about today, plus many, many more all over the world. And it's really, really easy to request your copy. Just go to our lovely shiny website, www.railbookers.co.uk/request-brochure, and we will ship one of our lovely copies to you as soon as possible. But if you can't wait that long, and I don't blame you, then you can look on our website right now, railbookers.co.uk, go to destinations and explore the world, and everywhere you can go in it on a Railbookers holiday. Don't forget to download your handout at the side of the screen, and if you have any questions at all, now is the time to get furiously typing, and we will be very, very happy to ask Mark to provide you with an answer. We always get so many, so if we don't get around to answering your question, please don't worry. Somebody will be in touch to make sure that you've got your answer. And how do you book? It's a great question. Give us a call. We love to talk rail holidays. We're available on 0203 780 2382, or of course go into your local travel agent and they'll be able to organise a Railbookers holiday for you as well. And the winner is, this is my favourite part. So one lucky winner will get £50 off their next rail holiday with us. And our winner today is Caroline Sanger. So congratulations, Caroline. You've got a £50 Railbookers voucher somebody will be in touch after the webinar to let you know all the details of that. And now we've got some questions. So we've had loads and loads of questions for you, Mark. Peter, would you like to have a look and answer some of them?
Yeah, there's a couple here, Mark. One question here. You mentioned briefly about coming back to the UK from Vienna. What's on a sleeper train? What's it like on a sleeper train in Europe?
Well, it's a sort of modern version of the Orient Express, a side corridor and lots of compartments. I absolutely love snuggling down between crisp sheets, listening to steel wheels swishing on steel rail underneath me. It's something you have to experience, and once you get used to it, you'll probably want to do more of it. So if you could leave Vienna.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
Sorry, Mark.
I was going to say it's remarkably quick, because you can leave Vienna in the evening after a full day. You're in Cologne at 8 o'clock next morning, having had breakfast delivered to your compartment, because that's included when you travel in the sleeper. And all you need to do is to hop on an ICE Express to Brussels and then Eurostar home. So you're home at lunchtime.
Excellent, excellent. We have another one here. Someone looking at celebrating their wedding anniversary on the VSOE, on the Orient Express. Is it possible to do it from Venice to Paris?
Yes, you can book it for any major sector, really. So I've been on it from London to Verona. I didn't go on it all the way to Venice. I've also been on it from London to Paris. If you want to go on it from Paris to Venice, that's absolutely fine, or Venice to Paris. So it's very flexible. And you can fit it into your schedule. If you wanted to take the Eurostar to Paris and then spend a few days there before going on to Venice by Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, or the other way around, then that's absolutely fine too.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a really nice idea, I thought, when I was on it, to break that journey in Paris, because we kind of went through in the morning, and I was like, no, let me off. I want to see more of Paris. So you could always get off, have a couple of nights in a hotel in Paris, and then, as Mark said, take the Eurostar home, or continue, on the Orient Express on the next running date. Whatever you like, they really are very flexible, and we can organise all the rest of your travel and your hotels around whatever it is that you want to do.
Okay, great. And another one here, Mark. We've mentioned a couple of times about upgrading to first-class travel. What are the advantages of upgrading to first-class travel in Europe?
Well, generally speaking, it's what you'd expect from the difference between classes in the UK. You get more elbow room, more leg room, plusher seats. It's more comfortable. You tend to sit with more laptops tapping and fewer families and kids. But there are certain routes where you also get some extras. So, for example, on the TGVs between Paris and Switzerland, you might also get food served at your seat, included in the fare. But that's only on certain routes.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can use some of the nice lounges in Europe in some destinations as well if you do have first class. But guys, I think that's just about all that we have time for this evening. So sorry to everybody whose question we didn't get around to answering. We'll be in touch. Don't worry, you will have answers. It's been such a pleasure to get to talk to you about these holidays and to hear all about Mark's kind of experiences on the train routes through Europe. So thank you so much for joining us, Mark. We've had an absolutely wonderful time. And thank you to Peter, obviously, as well, for joining us and for introducing Railbookers so fantastically. And thank you to everybody who has sat with us and listened today. We look forward to speaking with as many of you as possible very, very soon, and hope that you all enjoy the rest of your evening. So see you on the next webinar, everybody. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone.
Goodbye.